All right, class, let's get to talking about democracies in the 1920s. After World War I had concluded, some of the countries in Europe that had not had democracies started to create some, and so there was quite a few different countries in Europe that were starting almost anew. Our essential question: how did the political and economic troubles of Europe lead to World War II? So, fear of communism in 1919, the fear of the Bolshevism sweeps through Europe. The Red Scare, communists take Berlin in January of 1919. So, upon the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, there was communists groups that had popped up all throughout Europe, and there were even some in the United States. But the ones that popped up in Germany created quite a stir due to the fact that in Germany, a very tumultuous time after World War I, you had factions from the extreme right all the way to the extreme left. And when communism popped up there, it created quite a stir. The Weimar Republic was a Social Democratic Party, or the SPD, came into control in November of 1918. The Weimar, the name from the region, had to rely on conservative military to control it from the communists. So the Weimar Republic used the military to push out the communists and to help them also control their democratically led country of New Germany without a Kaiser. The Weimar Republic became a prisoner of the German army to protect from communism. So even though it was a democratic society, who was really in control? Well, it turned out to be the army, and the army was very influential in leading up to World War II. Now, the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, all Germans saw the Treaty of Versailles as a harsh, dictated peace where they had no control. In the Treaty of Versailles, which took place right outside of Paris, France, in the old Versailles Palace, people that participated with the United States, France, Italy, and the British. Germans weren't even there. So they had no reason to believe in the Treaty of Versailles, and they did not think that it was very equal, which it wasn't. Article 231 placed all the blame on Germany, not Journey. They had to pay reparations. They lost Alsace-Lorraine. French looked to punish Germany, so the French and the British, but more so the French, they really wanted to punish them. This is your fault, Germany. You have to pay us money. You have to pay us, for the people, for the farms that got blown up where trenches were, for lost livestock. They had to pay for it all. The Weimar Republic signs the Treaty of Versailles, which most from Germany calls a stab in the back. So when the Weimar Republic, and it's not a specific area of the Weimar Republic, we're talking about a government now. When the Weimar Republic signs this Treaty of Versailles, the majority of the people in Germany thinks that it's a stab in the back. And this is what Hitler used and got people all fired up later on to start World War II. The Reichstag was created. It was the lower house. It elects the chancellor, cabinet, and it did allow for all-female suffrage or voting. Conservatives stage a push, and a push is a revolution in German in 1920, but it failed. So the conservatives tried to gain back power, somewhat similar to the Bismarck or the Kaiser days, but it was unsuccessful. Now, the Ruhr crisis in 1923, Germany forced to pay $34 billion. So, if you do the math, thinking about $34 billion then, it'd probably be more than $100 billion now. That's a lot of money that these poor people who had just lost the war, had no economy, had to pay back. France takes over the industrial Ruhr area, which was near the border. Had a lot of industry there, a lot of coal, so taking even more out of the hands of the Germans. Runaway inflation, and this is how bad it was. In 1919, 9 marks, which is German money, marks, equals $1 in American money. In 1923, 4.2 trillion marks, equals $1. So it was crazy inflation. People literally had wheelbarrows or wagons full of money trying to go buy one loaf of bread. It was crazy. This started a social revolution where the middle class blames workers, Jews, and communists. And so this just started getting people fired up. The beer hall push of 1923, it's another revolution. Hitler and the Nazis, or the Socialist Party, and it was called a beer hall push because they planned it all out in a beer hall, attempt to overthrow Bavaria. And if they could overthrow Bavaria, then they were going to move on and then, try to control all of Germany. They were captured. The army or the police came in and broke it up. Some of them ran away. Hitler was actually left standing in the street and watching his friends either run away and or get shot. He got captured and given a 1-year sentence. Now, I don't know about you, but if someone tried to overthrow our government, they'd probably be locked up for the rest of their lives. Hitler, 1-year sentence. The judge in his case was very sympathetic to the conservative movements and only gave him 1 year. During that sentence, he writes Mein Kampf, and that is the book that details, its translation of Mein Kampf is My Struggle, and how he thinks that this whole idea of, stab in the back, and blames quite a few of the groups that we've already mentioned on the problems of Germany and what needs to take place to make Germany a great power again. In the meantime, Gustav Stresemann assumed the leadership of the Weimar Republic in 1923, attempts to restore Germany. So he's doing his best to make things better in Germany. The Dawes Plan of 1924, the League of Nations plan that restructured Germany's debt with U.S. loans. So the U.S. is loaning Germany money, and then Germany can take that money to pay off the British and the French. And this helps Germany recover. So it gives them an opportunity to get their feet back on the ground and start making some headway. But I think it's very interesting that the United States is the one lending the money, and in a few years, 1924, 20 more years after that, we're in it thick as thieves in World War II. All right, so history's no mystery. Take some good notes. We'll see you.